Hello. Today we're going to talk about required dates for sales orders. Um, and that's important because the required date for rental orders is definitely different than a sales order. So as you can see, I've got a sales order open here. It's for my Test Premier customer. And we're going to pretend that I've got a product in here. And I'm going to go to the F5 header screen. Here you can see where it says required. There's a ship date and then a required date. The required date is typically after you've called the vendor and verified when items are going to be shipped. That way you know, and you can let the customer know, hey, this has got a 5-day lead time or a 10-day lead time. Whatever the case is, you can go in and change this date to when you believe the product should be at the customer and then invoiced by our accounting department. So typically I'll push that out a couple days. So if the vendor tells me that for whatever I've ordered today, it's a 5-day lead time, which would make it ship out on the 19th in this example, I will give that vendor a couple days to get the invoice over to our accounting department and then our accounting department to put it in. So I would push this out until the 21st of July. Once that 21st is in there, I click save. Now overnight, this order number and this required date and all this information here is going to funnel over to Salesforce. Now in Salesforce, we can go to the Reports tab. Just log in, go to the Reports tab. We're going to go to Public Reports. We're going to look for a report called Open Sales Orders. Open Sales Orders RQD date. Basically, this is goes off that required date that we talked about here in Prelude, and that will go along with what's in this report. So we'll click on the report, and I've taken out a few of the columns just for this video, but when you go in here, you'll see more information when you go into your actual orders. Now you can see I've got this filtered for my name, and here are the required dates for some of my open orders. So again, this required date would match up with what is here when it funnels over at night. And as you can see, I've got some required dates that are past due. I went through and cleaned them up, but I wanted to have them up here for an example to show you what it would look like. This is important that these required dates are pretty close to what you believe the invoice time is going to be for your orders. This helps the branch manager and other managers determine what their forecast is for the month. It will help them to say, this is what we project to be invoiced this month. And so that's why the required date is very, very important. Now, since this has my name in it, you can come over to the filter screen, click on filters, go to order taker, and the order taker is contains. So you could do a first name or a last name and only put partial information in there. For this example, I'm going to choose BLAK. We'll click done. and apply. All right, so see first name or last name, it'll bring up a person as the order taker. As we can see, this individual has a few items that are past due and should go in and get these orders looked at, go into SOE, look at them, and find out when they're going to be invoicing, fill in the new required date, again, as to when they believe it'll be invoiced, call the vendor and say, hey, here's my PO, when is this going to get going? And that way your information can be, pretty close to accurate. And again, that's what the managers are looking for. Once you put in your name, you can come over to this little pull down window and click clone. You won't have the option for making public, but you will have for private. And you can take out the copy and maybe put in your initials if you wanted. We'll put in here BD. Or just leave it as it is because it's a private report. It'll show up in your area, and click create, and then it'll either be create or save when you do it on your Salesforce. But then that report will be just for you, and that way you don't have to go through the filter issue all the time. After you create your own report, you can go in and click subscribe. And this can be done, again, for any report. You could go in, I want to get this report weekly, and I want it to come to me at 5 a.m., email, and click save. The nice thing with that is that then every Monday at 5 a.m. that report will email to you. You can go through, update your records. You could do it daily if you wanted to. You could do it weekly. And if you do it weekly, the nice thing is it gives you a breakdown of all of them. So you can go through the entire week, see what's coming up, fix it, and then be good to go until the next go around. But again, you want to go through, make sure that your required dates are pretty close to accurate. Again, important for forecasting. Close out your filters by clicking the little upside down pyramid. That is really all I've got for the required date. And again, here in the F5 header screen, you can change this date for sales orders. Make sure that it's, again, where you believe it's going to be invoiced. Now, if you do a rental and it has product in it that is a sales product, your required date for rentals, of course, is when the customer needs to get the rental equipment at their facility. When product that's sold is shipped, it should be invoiced when it gets shipped. And then this required date would, only then be for your rental, which is fine. But just keep an eye on it. Just today, I was looking through my report. I found one that had actually shipped last week, but for whatever reason was never invoiced. And had I not looked at that report and left it go, that stuff would have just never been billed. Maybe a month or two down the road, a person could have looked at it and said, hey, when's this going to invoice? Well, should have invoiced 2 months ago. Customers don't like to get invoices when they're 2 months overdue. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure everything's good. If you've got any questions, talk to your branch manager or talk to a Salesforce administrator, and they can help you out with any other questions on the required date and how it goes to Salesforce in the Open Sales Orders RQD date report. Have a great day. Thank you.